Okay, in this video, we're going to give you 3 ways, women docs, how to beat feeling stuck. Okay, so what can happen as a women doc? You go through a lot of training, you go through school, you learn all this stuff, and then sometimes you can actually feel stuck. Like, why? Because we love to learn, right? Let's just acknowledge that we love to learn. So in this video, we're going to learn 3 ways, 3 areas to focus for women docs so that we can keep learning because learning keeps us vital and vitality feels great. It's when we're stuck that feels like, you feel alone, you feel isolated, you feel stuck, right? Like, I don't know what to do next, confused, uncertain, all of those things, right? Okay, so number one is to focus. How do we focus these days with phones? How many people have multiple phones? We have multiple phones. We have many ways that things can come at us at work, right? So one day I have 12 kind of channels, if you want to say, of how people can get my attention when I'm at work and when I'm home. It's like almost leaving all your doors and windows open so that people just can get your cognitive attention, right? So imagine that is the golden goose, your attention is the key, right? Like it is the key to your happiness. It's the key to you solving problems. It's the key for you to show people that you care about. So focus matters. And there are many books that remind us that when we're not focused or we are distracted, we feel unhappy. So the state of distracted is an unhappy state. So how often do we feel distracted in your week? If you had to think of your week, how often do you feel like there's a lot going on? There's a lot to focus on. I mean, probably the majority of it, right? And so also what comes along with distracted is not feeling happy. So when do we feel happy is when we purposefully narrow what we're thinking about, what we have our eye on, what we are giving our attention to, because it's golden, right? What are we giving our attention to? How important is it to us, to our mission at that time? So, how do we even know what to give our attention to as women docs? We know that we have to pause periodically, just pause, take a pause and think like, what do I want? I was recently talking to a doc, I won't say who, was thinking about changing her position at work or new company, a new place. And, I just advise her as a friend and a coach, just what do you want? Like, give yourself time every day. And a doc I'm coaching, so I coach docs one on one to think about building a business or to grow their business. That was her homework for actually a couple weeks is 15 minutes, right? What do I want? So a lot of times we know what we don't want. We want less of this, none of this, none of this. What do we want? Because how do we know what to focus on if we don't even know what we want? But most of the time people are so busy and there's so many things on your plate that there's no time to even realize what you want. So we just distracted. So the first way to beat feeling stuck as a woman doc is to focus. How do you start? What are some places to start? Believe it or not, schedule fun things in your week. Why does that matter? That matters because when we're having fun, we're usually with other people. The gamers out there can tell me if, being online with other people is fun, because I'm sure they'd say it was. I'm not a gamer, so I don't know that world. But generally, the definitions of fun is you're in person with someone, you're doing something physical, or you're doing something where you're probably not on your phone. That's truly fun. And you're not judging yourself when you're having fun. You're even not judging others. So there's no judgment, which is neurologically and emotionally a good neurophysiologic state, right? We're just there. We're probably very present when we're having fun without having to think about mindfulness. We're not like defining it as such. We're just having fun and we're there. We're having fun and it has our attention. So that's a way. Number one, how do we rebuild our focus or learn to focus is book more fun things. So put in the comments, what fun thing are you going to book this week? I also run, masterminds and I run master classes for women docs and we grade ourselves, kind of rate ourselves, on our fun level through the week. And most are rating pretty low. It's just not a priority. It's like something will happen if it happens, but it's not the priority today. Well, that is not the way that we should approach fun. We should make it a priority because of our neurophysiology, right? So we want to make sure we take care of this thing between our ears and that we put it in the best way it can so that it can focus. Is you need to give it off time, fun time, so it can then also be able to focus. So it needs to recharge, right? Just like your phone. You wouldn't expect your phone to go all day and night without recharging it. Same thing with what's between your ears. Okay. So we have to acknowledge our neuroscience needs, our neurophysiologic needs between our ear needs. Okay, distractions, no good for the brain. It's a negative emotional state when we're distracted. Our negative emotional states are not our big idea states. They're not our creativity states. They're not our solution finding state. So in order to build our focus, we need to book more fun. Okay, so we need to balance between these two states of focus, get your work done, and also fun. So what I see mostly when I'm coaching women docs who are building businesses or thinking about building businesses, they're only here, they're only focusing, getting work done, work, 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 focus. We need to come over here to give our brain some off time, some recharge time, our big thinking time, right? Okay, so schedule fun. Put in the comments, please, what you're going to do this week. It'll be great. I can't wait to hear. It'll be fun to hear what you're going to do. Okay, the second thing I like to say, protect our melon between our ears. So that's another way. This is our second way to build focus is when we're out with others, when we're in an environment full of other humans, we a lot of times adopt their emotions. So their emotional state is contagious to us, even if we don't want it to be. So if you work in healthcare, healthcare has a high burnout rate. Some manuscripts and some studies are showing 60%, 60% burnout. So that means, if in your day, if you saw 10 people today, 6 of them were burned out in a negative emotional state. And we adopt those feelings. So we have to be careful who we hang out with. We have to be very, very purposeful about who we hang out with. Okay. So how do we be feeling stuck or distracted as a woman doc? We definitely schedule fun in our world. Okay. In our week, we have to have fun. Number 2 is you're going to protect your melon by just notice who you hang out with. If you're only with people who are stressed and nervous and scared, then you have to also then go get your rebalance time, just like we have to do with fun. Okay. Be around people who fill your cup rather than take everything from your cup. Right. And there's not everybody does that. Right. So there are emotionally taxing interactions with humans, but we have to know who fills our cup and be intentional about that. Okay. So, and that's called emotional synchrony, that we share the emotions of those around us, the people we're in meetings with. It doesn't mean you have to like it or even want it, but that's what we do as humans. We start sharing emotions when we're together. So we have to be careful of that emotional synchrony or use it to your advantage. Hang out with people with positive, calm emotions if you can find them. Those are good people to know. Okay. Okay, so we're going to watch our risk of what are the social messages you get. You have to do this, you have to do this. So this is kind of the culture we're steeped in healthcare. Like you have to do it like that person, you have to follow in these footsteps. Sometimes you have an idea of what you want to do and you don't see it anywhere. It feels weird to think that you want something, but you don't see it in healthcare. You don't see it in medicine commonly done. Maybe you want to work part-time and you also want to be an artist. Maybe you want to work part-time and you also want to be a musician. Maybe you want to work part-time and start your own business. Maybe you don't want to work. Maybe you want to work online only. Maybe you want to start your own business and have that be your only source of income. There's so many options. There's all these, all people with all different ways of doing things. And you can have a lot of options in the world. That's the beautiful news. Okay. So in order to get unstuck as a woman doc, we know we have to find focus. We know we have to build support. So who are the people you hang out with? Are they supportive? Are they nourishing you or are they taking away a lot of energy to interact with them? And we have all kinds of people that we interact with. and some will take away our energy. And that's okay. That's a fact. But we also then need to have renewing relationships, people that you're with them and you just like, oh, your cup is full after you talk with them, right? So, how do women docs beat stuck? You find your focus. I coach women docs. I also have a free membership called Fresh Path MD, so join me there. The link will be here in the video. And just say yes if you would also like to hang out with people. Put in the comments, yes, you want to hang out with people that are a little more calm, a little more intentional, a little more focused. You like those kind of people. You want to find those people. Well, that's why I built Fresh Path MD. I want to build a community where we can feel supported, focused, and leave your particular impact. You're really good at a group of things. What can you do for this world? This world has many challenges today, especially. And so I want to be a part of the solution. I want to give people resources. I want to, connect you to things to help you be fully you and all your gifts and strengths. So I want to make sure you can leave an impact like you're able to in this world. And I know focus matters and I know support matters. So that's what we do in Fresh Path MD is provide that in my one-to-one coaching or my group coaching. We provide that because we know focus matters and we don't know how to do it. All we know how to do is to be unfocused or distracted. And those are negative emotions. And just in a scientific, psychological state wise, negative emotions is not our problem solving state. So if we want to leave an impact, we have to learn how to build focus and learn how to build a supportive growth team around us. That's what we do in Fresh Path MD and in my coaching. So join me. It would be great to have you. I just can't wait to see you in there. The links here, there's a free level. So if you just want to check it out, see what it's about, see what it could feel like to be in a community where we focus on focus. We want to beat distraction. We want to beat isolation. We want to beat that feeling like it doesn't matter anymore. Like I'm just doing so many clerical tasks. I can't really live in my gifts. We want to beat that. So I want you to feel vital. I want you to feel empowered. So come join us. It'd be amazing. Yeah. Put all your questions in the comments. I'm glad to answer any. And I'll also put a link for Fresh Path MD and I'll see you on the inside. All right. Thanks for being here.